Hello pets, welcome back to a new game. This is Tin Can. This game was released soon as a 1.0 version finally. In this case, it is the ultimate survival test. Can you keep your can running until you can be rescued? There are a couple different game modes, and there are custom game modes. So let's kind of go over that real quick, and then I'll actually do some little bit of gameplay, and then I'll give you my thoughts on the game. So in the classic rescue, these are timed modes. We're actually going to do one of these. I'm going to do that 10 minutes in a few minutes, so you can see how the game's actually played. But in this case, these go up to 30 minutes, but you can also do a set the scenario editor, and you can customize your whole game mode. How long do you need to live? What works? What doesn't work? What parts do you have? What's in here? So this is going to be really cool because different players will be able to make scenarios at some point and send them to each other through the Steam workshop, and that will be cool. Now, in the sandbox mode, as well as in the ranking modes, you can pick which can you want. And in the custom scenarios, you can do this as well. But you have two different cans. You have the Medusa Mark III Escape Pod, and you have the Relay Station Mark 9. They're different in their size, and they have all the same things. So I'm going to go into the Medusa and walk you around the ship a little bit, give you an idea on everything inside of the escape pod. Then we'll actually go into the game mode, play it a little bit, and then we'll talk about it. It takes a minute to load the game, not a big deal. It is loading up the scenario. In our case, the scenario is nothing. Nothing's going to go wrong in this mode. In the sandbox mode, you have full access to the pod, and the only thing they can kill you is you. So, don't be surprised. It's a great place to explore the pod, get your feelings for it, understand where everything is, how it works. And we're going to go through the most important stuff first. The book. This is your technical manual. There's a copy of this available on the website, so you can play as a party game, or if you're a streamer, you can play it with your fans and whatnot. So you can go through here, and this goes over everything you need to know about the pod. To be honest, the developers did a really good job with this technical manual. Tells you how to read the gauges over here. All the gauges tells you how to read them, what they're for, what it tells you, what it means when it's too high or too low. Breathable levels, all the gauges, that's important. The main generator, which is up here. I'll go ahead and open the battery generator. Actually, we want this, you can see this. Here's your main generator. And it goes through the main generator, all the components of the generator. The CO2 scrubber, it's over here. So, this one at the bottom is nitrogen. This one's CO2. And this one here is NO2. And it goes through those components. And temperature manager, which is this one up here. This is what I always forget about. It's the temperature control system. Lighting systems are over here. Main lights, that's the wet lights. These draw the most power and are often very useful. These are the emergency lights, and yes, there is a battery down here, so be aware of that. Gotta watch that battery too. Everybody else has a battery. What's next? Gravity generator down here. This controls your gravity. This, unfortunately, is a very temperamental little piece of equipment. So be careful with it. You will go off to find yourself without gravity. So, be aware. Main computer's behind me. That's this one right here. Now, the main computer does have a battery right there. So that's the power relay. And it will tell you everything in the ship. Not that big of a deal. The last things it's got in here is the battery charger right here, which this panel right next to it allows you to access the controls of the battery charger. So if you have an electrical fire or something in here, that's what that panel is. The airlock is behind me, right there. You will never use this. There are scenarios that you might consider it, but remember, if you open the airlock, you're gonna let air out. It's just that way. Anyway, the CO2 recycler process over here. This one right here allows the conversion of CO2 back into oxygen. And I think that's about it. Now let's go through the components. This is every component that's on the ship. I recommend reading this. I really do. It will help you in the long run. Read your manual. The last one's the error codes. Now we can't do error codes here because, frankly, I don't know if I can. Let me see if I can yank something here. Read error code. There we go. So it says low pump. That's an easy one. Let's see. Let me see if I can get a different error code on something useful. Okay, computer. I need something that I can break. Okay, here we go. One of the more common ones you'll find is this one here, 2NOA. So you go down here, you have the error code. Oopsie. And you go down the list, and you find 2NOA, which is one at the top right there behind the game monitor, and it says on battery. That's because we did this. We took the power spot. But you're going to find that you will be on 2NOA a lot. Now, if you notice over here, it said that we had low pump. Versus over here, it said 2NOA. If the computer is operational, it will tell you what the error codes mean. If it is not operational, you have to go off this list to translate back and forth. If you're playing one of the party game modes, it will always tell you just the error code, and you have to remember it or look it up. So be aware. That's the basics of the pod. There's not much left here other than the repair station. And over here. These are the storage bins. Right now they're all going to be empty. Actually, no, there's not. There's a fuse in this one. That one's got a buzzer. No batteries. Nothing in here. I got beeped at. I have an alarm. Oh! Gotta change out the air. It's one of the few things you have to worry about in this mode. There we go. Swap those out, I gotta go. Reset the alarms. And it will correct itself. Anyway. Not a big deal. So let's go ahead and reset the game. Alright, so we're gonna go to a scenario now. We're gonna go to the 10-minute scenario. Now this does have things that are broken in the ship. It does have things you need to worry about. It does have environmental events. I don't remember which one's which. But in this scenario, you're allowed to pick up extra gear. So you always want to pick up things you think you might need. I tend to grab batteries, mainly because batteries are one of the things that you need in every piece of equipment on the ship. So extra batteries never hurt. Not all scenarios allow you to do this. Some do, some don't. Now you have about 30 seconds. I have 30 seconds left. But you have about a minute to grab as many things as you can that you find of value. Not that. That's it. It's the last component. So hopefully we got everything we need for this scenario. And then we eject from the ship. From this point on, we are now live in our tin can. Can we survive our 10-minute time period? So, we have everything. First thing you do is put everything away. This allows you to do two things. One, allows you to take inventory of what you have. Two, it allows you to familiarize yourself with some of the components of the pod. And what's good, what's bad. Alright, so we have some connectors, a fuse, some buttons, some switches, no big deal. Power connector, TV display. Alright, so first thing I always do is change out our O2 tanks. Why? These things always seem to be partially used when you come in here. So always a good idea to do that first. You don't know what your scenario is going to be, or how long you're going to be here. So you want to make sure that you have everything good to go. We do not have a battery charger. And I can't put one together. Computer's also offline. So we don't have a computer. We don't have a battery charger. We have an O2. We have main lights. Let's open up our... Oh, it's a good idea to open these up early. It's just, it makes more sense. The last thing we didn't discuss is the beacon over here. This does have a battery. I'm gonna put this over here. Put a new one in. And when you do a timed scenario, this clock counts down. But it will only count down if it's powered. So you gotta either have the main power online, or you gotta have the batteries working. That's very important. We are coming into an ice nebula. So this is very bad. So let's go ahead and shut off everything we don't need. Need that charger running for the time being. Put you over there. Go ahead and shut you off. I don't need you running. You want to reduce your power output. Because the gravity generator, it's going to go offline. And we're just going to assume it's going to go offline. Oh, that's right. I don't have... You know, it's really hard to charge batteries when you forgot you don't have a battery charger. But if you know how to make one, thank you. It's not that big of a deal. Switch. There. So now the battery charger's back online. There we do. The gravity generator tends to be a good idea to keep charged. But unfortunately, it's one of the hardest components to keep charged. Because it's gonna drain that battery like it's nothing. Are you on battery power? Yeah, they're on battery power. Yay, that's watch the batteries. So the reason you grab as many batteries as you can, because the system tends to run out of battery juice pretty quick. So look at that, right there, gravity. Look at that. And that's the big battery, by the way. And that one has more capacity than the other batteries, and it still runs out in like seconds. It's horrible. So you only use the gravity generator when you need one. How's our batteries doing? You're good. And you'll tend to keep certain drawers just always open. Like the nitrogen one, I always leave open so I can watch its battery. But there's actually no reason for that other than to watch the battery. And you just kind of open up everything. Like you open up this one here, you open up those down there. You can move. You hear it dialing home. You want to make sure this is always running, because if this goes out of power, you can't dial home, and your 10-minute trip could be a 10-hour trip because you ran out of power. And we need some batteries bad. Okay. You go that way. You close. Where's my handhold? I have it here somewhere, don't I? Oh, here we go. Up here. And you go off that way. You go into there, you go up there. And we'll come around over here. Pull this out, put that in. Pull this battery out, put this one in. And where's that last battery? There it is. Pull that one out and put this one in. And what we want to do is want to try and push them that way, so I can get them into the drawer. So once they're in the drawer, they're easy to manage. There's one more battery out here somewhere. Where I lose it at? I don't know where I lost the battery at. Oh, here it is. Losing things is very, very common in this game. And forgetting about certain systems is also very common. So remembering you have a coolant system that's also running on battery power. And trust me, it's a pain when you're in a long scenario and you're running uncharged batteries all the time. It's really not that bad when you don't have this freeze condition or the electrical condition, which forces you to not have as much power output, and so it restricts your power output, or it makes you shut things off in order to not get damaged. So like if things are on, they'll get damaged during an electrical storm. So that's the thing you want. But you gotta be able to shut things off. So you got a lot of buttons for everything. And in the electrical storm scenario, which we do not have in this particular endeavor, thankfully, CO2 is getting full. Let me guess. What's wrong with it? Run battery power filter. That's what that code was. That was a bad filter code. Not all that bad. Just needs to be changed. Needs to be cleaned. it's an uncommon, it's not a common problem. So now we're into an asteroid field. This is our second challenge for this scenario. And we need change out our air tanks. So I'm gonna go ahead and for a short period here, do this. Because we need to change out our filters. And I want to do that before something goes catastrophically wrong. Because trust me, it will. At some point, if you're not careful. But there's our rescue ship. So that's our 10 minutes. If we were going longer, like during the 15 or 20 minute run, during that particular scenario, we would have been able to live longer by changing out our batteries right then. And then you just turn the gravity off and let it go. You don't want the gravity to run on battery power if you don't have to. It gets to be a mess. But when you finish the initial scenarios, so the 6 minute, the 10 minute, 15 minute, 20 minute, and so on, and 30 minute, you get equipment to come online. So the first one here is the extended batteries. The second one is the O2 generator. The third is the battery charger, which I was able to put together a battery charger, but you will start with one. And I think this one is the repair station, and this is the main computer. And again, if you have the parts, or you scavenge the parts, you can bring those things online. Like the main computers are fantastic to have online. But it's also one of the first things you pull apart, because it's not really useful. So, thoughts on the game. First, I love the design. The design is fantastic. Both vehicles, the escape pod and the relay station are fantastic. I'd like to see more designs. Maybe, more complicated designs. More bigger systems to work with. There might be some cool little scenarios in there that they could do. But a more complicated ship, like maybe a small passenger ship, or like a shuttle or something, that has lost its engines, and you have to sit there and either try to repair the engines so you can escape, or keep your beacon on long enough for the rescue ship to find you. And that gives you a couple different types of scenarios to escape from. So something like that would be really cool. I'd like to see that. The areas for improvement. Battery drain. Every system drains battery on roughly the same level. The air processors, the air conditioning system, when they're operating, they run at a constant rate. That's pretty okay. You've got a reasonable amount of time on that to work with it. The charger works really quick. So as long as you've got enough batteries and time to swap them out, and you have extra batteries, you can deal with that pretty easily. The gravity generator chews batteries bad. I'm okay with that though. But again, the battery life could be a little longer. The other one that I find problematic is the electrical storm doesn't respect the fuses. So if you have an electrical storm and it hits, it may blow the fuse. It may not blow the fuse, but it could blow another component. So you might have the power relay goes bad. fuse is still good. Hit by electrical discharge. Fuse is fine, but the relay goes bad. Or the power adapter goes bad. Or the battery takes a hit. And some of these components are behind the fuse. So they shouldn't be affected. The fuse should go first. That's a real world environment that isn't reflected properly in the game. But it does make for some interesting challenges because it does happen. So I can kind of give it one, but it really should respect fuses. The other thing that I have a problem with, is there anything else I have a problem with? No, I think it's just the battery and the fuses could be improved. Do I recommend this game? I do, I really do. It's a lot of fun. It's not one you're gonna play for like hours and hours and hours, and some people have. But if you're a survival game junkie, this is definitely one for you because the scenarios scenarios can last as long as 5 minutes. I've had some that lasted like a minute. Something went wrong in the pod and I couldn't fix it. And it was like a minute in and I'm like, what? Why am I dying? I couldn't figure out the problem. Then all of a sudden I died of heat exhaustion or something. Some of the scenarios are pretty rough. Like I was hit with an electrical storm. And it fried like half my systems. Everything was offline. The main power generator was offline. The batteries were failing. The heating cooling system. The heating cooling system was blown out and burnt. Part of it was burnt out. The air handler, all 3 air handlers had damage to them. And I'm like, am I going to suffocate to death first, or am I going to die of burning up? It was a mess. It was a mess. I died, like I said, I died in just a couple of minutes of that, and that was horrible. There are a couple other game scenarios. So, the rankings are for which system. You pick one of the 2 pods, you can go in for the ranking of leaderboards. And the in-training ranking is for people who are not severe. Now, I am down here. I have a total of 40 minutes survived in the hardcore mode. In the hardcore mode, you don't get a beacon. You don't get rescued. It's just you and the pod. So the hardcore mode, which is this one here, the ranked play, is just you and the pod. That's it. You don't get rescued. You just have to live as long as you can. It's a very impressive thing. It's hard. Best I've done is it's a little under 26 minutes. I don't know what killed me on that one. I think I died of the pod being too hot. I was cooked to death, I think I died from hyperthermia. Pod reaches 65 degrees Celsius. You die, apparently. So yeah, there's that thing. And I think that I'd been from an electrical storm. Usually if I die, it's from electrical storms. Anyway, so this is Tin Can. It is the most extreme survival simulator out there. And I do highly recommend it. It's a ton of fun, either by yourself or with a group of people. So have a good day, and I hope you enjoy this one. It comes out, I believe it's the 12th of April, 2022. Keep posted on the forums. As always, there'll be links below.